Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream. I'm going to do your October the 15th spiritual principle a day in a meditation. I hope you're doing well this morning. Let's go ahead and get into the meditation. Still thinking deeply about the just for today. It was a wonderful meditation. Okay, October 15th, giving generously, expecting nothing. One small act of generosity can work wonders. That comes from It Works, step 12. When we talk about keeping what we have by giving it away in NA, many of us are thinking about the way we freely share our experience, strength, and hope. After all, sharing is one of the most obvious ways in which we carry our message. But it isn't the only way. We often don't realize how we affect others simply by showing up and being ourselves. I sometimes go to an out-of-town meeting when I'm visiting family, a member wrote. A woman I didn't recognize celebrated 2 years clean. She came up to me after the meeting and told me I remembered her name at her first meeting 2 years ago. She said she felt seen for the first time in a long time, and that's why she kept coming back. Experiences, like this are incredibly common in A. Most of us still have a memory of a small act of kindness shown to us in our early recovery. We carry that kindness and generosity forward, sometimes even noticing that we are doing it. Other times, it's very much a purposeful and deliberate choice we make to ensure that newcomers have a chance to feel the love we felt. I can't tell you how many basic texts I have brought in all the years I've been clean. And I still have just a single copy. Giving of ourselves in acts of empathy is what we do in NA. We carry the message when we share in the meetings. We carry the message by being who we are in all that we do as members of NA. Whether it's holding the door open for someone coming into a meeting for the first time, holding a friend's hand as they share about a difficulty they are going through, or holding space for others to hear the message in their own time. Our generosity can work wonders. Part of recovery is giving generously and expecting nothing in return. I will give freely today, knowing I might not see the reach of my generosity. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today. Please and thank you. Giving generously and expecting nothing is something that we can change. It's something that we benefited from because we're here in the fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. And just like myself and the person in the story here, I have so many memories of people loving me when I really felt very unlovable. So many people being kind to me when I wasn't very kind or feeling kind at all. They set the tone of recovery. They set the atmosphere of recovery. They did the work so that I could be here. It just is common sense to me that I would do the same. I'm really good at holding space for others to get to a meeting when they're ready. I was just sitting here thinking, I'm in this humongous home. Everyone is asleep. I've started the coffee. I've gotten the kitchen clean. I'm waiting for 25 people or so to wake up. And I'm going to make coffee after coffee after coffee. And I thought to myself, and these will be gourmet coffees that I make, right? For each person that wants one. And I thought to myself, where did I learn that sort of hospitality? I've been here for 30 years, I believe I learned a lot from my mother. I learned an awful lot from my mother about hospitality. I think I learned more from her about how to conduct yourself in someone else's space. Okay. But the actual serving others, right? No, I guess I used to do a radio show for a youth organization when I was a bit younger, their voiceovers, but really just serving others. I learned that when I got to the program. I watched people do things that I thought they should be receiving payment for. I could not believe the level of work that was going into a convention and no one was receiving a paycheck. I mean, merchandise, right? Sure. People selling the tapes and stuff. Sure. But other than the main speakers, no one was being flown in or given a hotel room, right? I didn't see any exchange like that. And I thought it was unusual. Like, this is intense work. This is a lot of dedication to give freely without expecting anything in return. How is that possible? And then it dawned on me that what made it so beautiful was that people were giving of themselves and not expecting anything. There wasn't a dollar number they had in their head that when they walk out the door, they were going to receive a paycheck for this. And so the motive was pure. We're doing the right thing for the right reasons, and it showed. The atmosphere recovery was easily established because there wasn't anyone there with this hidden agenda about how much they were going to earn for doing what they had done. I learned that from Narcotics Anonymous. I learned that from watching my predecessors. And some of them are still very much alive. Not all of them have more clean time than me, but they're still very much alive and they're still doing service work in the community, in the fellowship, with their families. They've made amends to their families 20 times over, paying for great grandkids and grandkids to go to universities and buying vehicles for them to help them get up, a hand up, giving generously, expecting nothing back is something that we believe in Narcotics Anonymous. And I invite you today. That it doesn't mean that you're the main speaker. It doesn't mean that you're sharing at every meeting. It can incorporate that. But there's so many other ways to do it. And you just have to find your niche and do that. Find the thing that you're good at and give that freedom. You know what? I went to this speaker meeting in a community that, in a community that the culture is very different than my culture. And I was going to be the only person of my ethnicity and race. And there was an older guy that invited me from one of my home groups. And his wife was going, and he was like, it would be so nice if she could just meet you, Mighty Stream. And I was like, I'd like to meet her too. He's my mechanic, as a matter of fact. And so I showed up in this small, small town. Like if you blink, you've just driven through downtown. But the meeting happened to be in like an old historic building downtown. And I had to tell him, you know what, I'm very uncomfortable. This is KKK territory, well-known KKK territory. I'm very uncomfortable and I'm going to need for you to watch for me. I will call you and let you know when I am about to park. And sure is white is on rice. He was standing right there waiting for me. And, you know, he wears suspenders, right? He likes bib overalls and suspenders. And I remember as we were about to go into the building, and I'm telling you, he probably, he had relapsed so many times, but he probably had about maybe a little over 90 days clean at this point, maybe. And here I am with these 30 years. We're going into this historic building, and I'm thinking to myself, you're going among friends, you're going among people in the fellowship. You know most of them, or have you seen them at conventions, but you know him and you trust him. And I grabbed that man's suspenders. Like I pulled on his suspenders and I said, don't go too fast. Like walk me into this room like slowly. Right? And he just is tickled pink. He is just laughing. And we get into that meeting, and I'm still holding onto his suspenders. And his wife is sitting there. She is like, oh my gosh, this kid is holding onto my husband's suspenders like she's his little kid or something. Right. And he led me over to the table and I sat down, and she said, you have high anxiety, don't you? I said, I sure do. She said, well, honey, you're fine here. You're just fine. We all love you. I've heard so much about you. And she just relaxed me right away. And I look over to the sound guy, and he is another person that had just celebrated 60 days. And here he is setting up the sound with all this manageable equipment, but he's setting up the sound, and he puts this little thing on the back of the speaker and connects it so the speaker can move around freely and be heard over the speaker system. And I'm telling you, between this individual with just over 90 days, his wife, and this person with 60 days, I thought to myself, here's the mechanic of the fellowship. Everyone trusts him. And here's the sound guy. And he does sound for a huge university in our town when they're having symposiums and stuff like that. And he was like, yeah, I can't chair meetings, but I just decided, Mighty Stream, this is what I'm good at, and just do this. And I was amazed. 90 to 100 days and a person with 60 days, giving what they have, made thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars at professionally, and giving it to the fellowship freely, expecting nothing. So I know if they can do it, I can do it, you can do it. You just got to find what your niche is and offer that. We need you. My name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you today. I hope that you will have a beautiful day on purpose.